Welcome to the favorites, the podcast, part of the Volume Podcast Network. I am Chad Millman of the Action Network. Simon is still enjoying time with his family in jolly old England, but we miss him so much. We have to talk about one of the biggest events that comes out of England and has been imported to New York. It is taking place Friday and Saturday. Many people know it as sports' biggest party. What is that party, you ask? It's the Bet365 US Darts Masters at the theater in Madison Square Garden. The world's 8 greatest darts players squaring off against 8 of North America's best. It's an incredible party. It's an incredibly popular betting event internationally and becoming more popular here in the US. Joining us to discuss all things professional darts, all the way from his kitchen in Denmark, our Better Collective colleague and darts betting expert, Benjamin Leander. Brother.
Hi, Chad. Thank you so much for having me.
Listen, darts has a really sort of special place in the lore of Action Network because when we first launched, darts started to be televised here in the United States on DAZN, I think, and a lot of people went, and it was a huge betting event that got us all catalyzed, and we're having just an incredible time together. So we've been following like the joy of betting on darts and the incredible enthusiasm and the spirit comes from the events and the attitude and the charisma of the players. Like for those who are totally unfamiliar, why is it called sports biggest party?
I think that darts is uniting some different kind of entertainment, I would say, for people not knowing that darts have evolved from the traditional pub sport to the greatest party in the world. I would say that we have festival meets carnival meets sports match, which I think is very rare that you can combine all three things. I mean, we have all been to a soccer match, an American football match, an ice hockey match, whatever match, where you have the sport in the center of everything. With darts, you have the atmosphere as the center of everything. And I remember actually watching the first edition of the US Darts Masters that was played at the Tropicana Casino in Las Vegas. And people should go watch it. It's on YouTube. And then compare to last year's edition, which is again being played in the Madison Square Garden. Uh, it is two different worlds. In 2017, you had people sitting like maybe at a conference, clapping occasionally, cheering when some player made a 180, but being silent when the players are throwing. Shh, don't interrupt. And flash forward to 2024, where Madison Square Garden erupted. Very first game between Rob Cross and Michael van Gerwen. These two players made 4 180s in the first leg of the match. You would see that in maybe 1 out of 1,000 matches with 4 180s in the very opening leg. So darts is being the biggest party of sports due to the huge atmosphere and the excellent collaboration between players, organization, and the crowd.
So what do you think happened? What changed? Because by 2018, when we were starting to cover it at Action, people were already going nuts. Like the attitude, the atmosphere, it was really starting to blow up. What do you think facilitated the change in sort of culture and enthusiasm?
The organizer, Professional Darts Corporation, just called the PDC, like the FIFA of soccer or the NHL of hockey, has played a huge role in professionalizing the sports, along with broadcasters like Sky Sports and ITV, making a very, very good broadcasting product of the sports, because it is universal that when you watch a darts game, you want the best angles. I mean, nobody can watch the dartboards from the places of the crowd, but with the huge monitors and on TV, the many different camera angles showing exactly where the players are throwing the darts. That has been a huge key in the darts rise during the last, yeah, like you said, the last 7 or 8 years. Um, the PDC has of course also provided a huge prize fund, which is also this year historical in New York. We have £100,000 in the prize pool against 60 even last year. So bigger prize pool, and the PDC making a very very nice product. Tickets are still what I would say not cheap, but at least affordable. Where we see in other sports, both your sports in the US and also the European sports, that ticket prices are simply exploding through the roof.
You
So in
meant, go
general,
ahead, sorry.
more people are getting their eyes open for darts being very very accessible. You don't need to be a huge fan. You don't need to know who Michael van Gerwen or Matt Campbell or whoever is. So darts is extremely accessible for both young and old.
So explain, you just mentioned a couple of the guys. Who are the people that the players that people need to know as they think about betting for the weekend, in which quite frankly in the US there's not a ton of stuff to bet on as we're heading into, out of the basketball season. Um, who are the people? Why are they so charismatic? What makes them so popular?
I think it's impossible not to mention teenage sensation and upcoming defending world champion and upcoming many times world champion. He is the picture and the face of darts right now. 16 years old when he participated at his first World Darts Championship and world champion at the age of 17. He's participating, of course, in New York. Did it as well last year, but lost to Gerwin Price. Also, a big name to keep an eye on, due to his skills on the stage, but also because Price is the face of what darts can also be. Former rugby professional in his home country Wales, decided to give darts a go 10 years ago and got crowned world champion. So completely shifted sports like another Michael Jordan from basketball to baseball, maybe even more successful. Um, and we have tons of faces. Luke Humphreys, the world number one, also a very very good guy, a guy everyone likes on the tour. Where Litter and Price are dividing opinions, maybe a little more. Then I would say for the Americans, we have a very special case with Jules van Dongen, born in the Netherlands, but is representing the US. He is at the moment suffering from dartitis. Please don't laugh. It's it's a real thing where you are struggling with the dart in your hand to release it at a proper time. And Jules has suffered from this for over a year now. Was a really is still a really good player, but has suffered so much from this dartitis thing that he actually spent hours and hours and weeks and months changing his throw from right to left-handed. Imagine doing that in any sport. Imagine Tom Brady suddenly saying, I can release the ball when throwing for my wide receiver, so now I'll use my left hand. Jules Van Dongen actually did that. He is in the middle of a process and he's still playing at a much lower level than before, but he will participate in New York. And I think everyone in the darts universe is cheering for Jules to finally have a good experience on the stage, because he has really suffered for the last year or even 1.5. So he is definitely the guy that everyone in the American dart world will cheer for this week.
So basically, Jules got the yips. Like he just couldn't do it anymore.
I mean, you wouldn't see it in any other sports. I mean, looking at any NBA player not being able to release the ball, or any soccer player, you wouldn't see Messi say, "I can't shoot, I can't shoot." But yeah, he is suffering from the diabetes, which is of course a physical condition, but also this mental condition where you can't make it right.
I mean, that's heartbreaking, dude. I feel
It is.
terrible. I feel
I
terrible for
mean,
this guy. How did it even like, how did it start to become known? And then, like, what was his process for trying to change it? Like I've tried to throw darts left-handed. Darts becomes one of those things where everyone feels like they know how to do it because it's accessible at every bar and pub throughout the world. It's really hard to be that coordinated to be able to change hands.
It is an exceptional case. I mean, he suffered from some kind of wrist condition in the start, and then it somehow got worse. So it is the mix between an injury where you keep throwing in the wrong way, and suddenly your wrist and your underarm becomes a great issue, combined with your head saying, "I can't throw like this. I need to kind of do something that I'm not used to." So that's simply suffering from dartitis, and many darts players have been through it. Even Nathan Aspinall, who will also participate this or was supposed to participate this year, but is being replaced by Australian Damon Hatter, has suffered from it on stage during this year's Premier League, but has come back from it. Actually, delivered many good matches. But in Jules' case, it's been going on for over a year now, and he is luckily recovering from it. But it's a very long process.
This year's competition is Europeans versus North America. Are Europeans known as being better players historically than the Americans?
Yes, definitely. Darts has been evolving very slowly on every other continent than Europe. We've seen still South America. I mean, in almost every other sport like soccer, basketball, okay, maybe not hockey, but almost every other sport, you would have South America, Africa, Asia, even having at least one dominant player. It's been a very slow evolvement in these continents because the Professional Darts Corporation have not succeeded bringing the game to other continents than Europe, where everything has been focused on European Tour, the World Darts Championships being played in London every year. And now discussions have come to, do we need to put the World Championships another place than London? Could it be played outside Europe even? Because the sport is on the rise in so many different continents. Asia has had a huge success of players coming in. We've seen it at the World Cup of Darts that was held a couple of weeks ago, where you play in teams, as in pairs of two. Jules van Dongen competed for the USA along with Daniel Lauby, who will also be playing this week. And Canada had Jim Long and Matt Campbell, who will also participate in New York this week. But traditionally, the Americans have had a tough time when playing the U.S. Darts Masters. In 2023, Canadian Jeff Smith actually went all the way to the final. He beat Luke Humphreys, the current number one. He had other very good matches against Peter Wright with the Mohawk, very good player as well. And then he beat Michael Smith also, but lost eventually in the final 8-0 to Michael van Gerwen, another legend of the sport. But he is the only player that have processed after round two. We have the 8 American players joining in the first round. Then you have the quarterfinals, round two, the semifinals, round three, and then the final. And Jeff Smith is the only North American who has processed from round two.
All right, so you sort of got into the format a little bit. Uh, this is a betting show. Darts came on the scene largely because I think a lot of people started betting on it. Like with a lot of sports, sort of the popularity trails behind the betting influence, and darts certainly falls into that category. So, how do you bet on darts? What's a comparison that people who haven't done it before could hold on to so they can understand it a little bit better?
I don't think that tennis is a bad comparison because in tennis you have two players who are shifting between serving. You're also serving in darts, where one player, of course, has the throw before the matches. The players gather in front of the board, and then you throw closest to the bullseye. And the player closest to bullseye is starting the match, which is, of course, a big advantage. since we are playing first to six legs. Both players starts on 501 points and will then play down eventually to 0 points. And if the game is tied at 5-5, you play the ultimate round of the match. Of course, then the player who won the bullseye before the match will throw in the deciding leg, which is a huge advantage. And just like in tennis, yeah, you're serving in darts. One can say. I mean, in tennis, you have your serve, where one player can be bad at playing or hitting, but having a good serve. It's a little bit difficult in darts. But you have the ability of scoring, of course, pounding the triple 20 area where you get the most points. But in darts, you're only winning if you can finish on a double, the outer circle of the board. And some players having a really torrid time. I've seen top professional players just a month ago having to use 41 darts to finish one round. Chris Dobie and an opponent needed 41 darts to finish one round. You and me could do a round in 41 throws, Chad. I definitely wouldn't doubt.
Well, that's the thing is like sometimes I feel like you can get a double on the outer ring by accident. And these are the best dart throwers in the world who aren't able to end it. Is it because everything gets into their head? Like, what happens when it's time to close that they can't get to that final throw?
It's in their head. And then I mentioned the 2017 edition in Tropicana where the crowd was completely silent. That's not the case in these days. The crowd is getting loud. And some crowds are even getting hostile. In the World Cup of Darts 2 weeks ago, we had Germany on home soil. They beat England with Luke Littler and Luke Humphreys, two of the three best players in the world. They beat them easily due to the crowd whistling and booing every time the Englishman was throwing. And I mean, we can discuss is that good sporting ethics or what it is, but I mean, even if the Madison Square Garden crowd will not get hostile, it can still get into the heads of players when you can't just get that double done, and then you miss and you miss more, and that's when both darts and betting becomes tough. Um, the European players are playing later this season than normally. Normally, the US Darts Master has been in the first week of June, the latest of editions. Now it's in the end of June. So it is colliding with some players' holidays. All of these players have family. So that might influence on European players going to America, dealing with jet lag. We've seen it many times. There's always one or two of the European players who are really struggling. And you don't know until you see them on stage and imagine something is wrong here. His darts are flying low, his darts are flying high, he's not mentally strong in this game. And we won't know until we see the players on stage. But one of the cases I'm quite sure about is that we have Michael van Gerwen, the Dutch giant who has won many world championships. He's been going through a divorce, splitting from his partner in many years and haven't played in 1 month. So his condition is very questionable. Has he trained? He hasn't played? And how is he dealing going to the USA without, of course, his family, and with all these thoughts going through his head? So that is what you have to take into account when betting on the darts.
Dude, we got divorce, we got dartitis, we got heckling, we got jet lag, we got rivalries, we got teenage up and comers, we got people who want to knock that kid down to size. Like darts has more drama than the Gilded Age. It is just a
Are you
fantastic.
not entertained?
You mentioned all these guys like darts isn't something, and you mentioned the prize pool, 100,000 pounds. What do these guys do for a living? Like these aren't professional athletes. What do they do? How are they practicing?
Money and darts have gone so big that all of the players competing on this World Series tour that the US Darts Masters is are completely professional, winning millions of dollars and also having sponsorships
Wow.
that will easily top a lot of professional players, not from the highest of clubs or athletes, but at least close. I mean, winning the world championships is guaranteeing you £500,000, equaling, I would say, what, $700,000. And I would say that probably top 50 or top 60 on the Professional Darts Corporation Tour can make a living of darts. Of course, big difference from Luke Littler at the top, earning many thousands a year. And then number 64, who could maybe do with a small part-time job. But the hard thing for darts players is that the top guys are guaranteed a place in the most tournaments, where the qualifiers are not getting any part of the prize pool unless they win a match, making it very hard. I mean, in tennis, you would see even the loser of the first round in the US Open receiving, I guess, rather big payment just for showing up, maybe even losing 3 times 6-0. In darts, there's been criticism of recent tournament structure changes where it favors the biggest players, but we have fewer occasions where we see upcoming talents, sensational qualifiers, winning 4 matches in one day and participating in their first televised tournament ever. That's making life hard also for potential American players, where we are having this tournament. We're having 4 North American players participating due to the fact that they have won a tour card. Just like when you are competing for a tour card in golf, you have it on the darts tour as well, giving you the permission to attend these tournaments, but you have to win it. And that is very tough to do so. So in this tournament, we have, like I said before, we have Danny Lauby, we have Jules, we have Jim Long, we have Matt Campbell, who are playing professionally on the PDC tour. And then we have the 4 qualifiers: Leonard Gates, Dowie Bunce, and then Adam Savada and Jason Brandon, who will be playing as part-timers. So there is a huge gap between the big guys making the big money and then some of the qualifying players we will see during Friday and Saturday.
All right, so we've run through the lineup, we've run through the format, we've run through the drama. Give us your best bets for the tournament.
We have yet to see the draw, which will obviously have great importance in terms of which players will be placed in what brackets, what opponents, and stuff like that. But like I mentioned before, I would very much like to bet against Michael van Gerwen if he gets any other opponents than an inexperienced Jason Brandon. If he gets drawn against a young guy like Adam Savada, who is getting very big amounts of praise in the dart community, can maybe be the next big thing in US darts. I would definitely like to take Adam, maybe not to win the match, but then to cover it by a handicap. They play a first to 3 legs, and if I can get something like Adam with 3 or 2 legs in front, I think that will be a great bet. And then, of course, Luke Littler, the teenage sensation, he has this hunger of winning tournaments that he haven't won yet. And he got defeated in his debut last year in New York by Gerwin Price. So I think he will be very motivated. Also thinking about this huge disaster that it was that him and partner Luke Humphreys was defeated in the first match at the World Cup. So I think we'll see motivated Luke Littler, motivated Luke Humphreys, and then Michael van Gerwen with a big question mark out of his form.
I feel fully breathed. Benjamin Leander from his kitchen in Denmark with the greatest darts breakdown we've had in the history of the Favorites podcast. Thanks for coming on the show, brother. We will return with our next episode of the Favorites Tuesday on the Action Network YouTube page. Download us from Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe. Leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next time, love you.